Welcome to another edition of the Sacramento Dugout Show. I'm Todd Sullivan. I'm here with my co-host Dominic Morris. Today is a very special event for me to be able to get Mary Jo Truesdale on our show. Mary Jo, thank you for taking the time and joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
6-time Metro League Coach of the Year, 12-time Delta League Coach of the Year, and phenomenal lady yourself. It's just amazing on being in a Sacramento foundation here as a baseball coach and a teacher to be able to come in and be such an energetic lady, not only on campus, but on the ball field. How do you keep your energy level so high like this?
Well, I think one of the things is I make sure that I have great assistant coaches because they help keep me young. And I never really keep track of my age. And so people have to remind me how old I am. And the players remind me how old I am. So I think that helps. I also make sure that I take time for myself. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, with being a 8-time section champions, and you've been to the championship, section champion many times. Out of your 20 years, you've been there, 9 consecutive times in a row?
Well, 9 consecutive, yeah. 11 total.
11 total. Yeah, it's just phenomenal to be able to come through and be able to coach. And a lot of your coaches, we were talking earlier how they're travel ball coaches, but are they, former players of yours?
Not yet. I'm hoping in the near future that I'll be able to have some former players come back and coach with me. But right now I do have some travel ball coaches that help me out, which really help keep the competitive level of our high school program.
Speaking of competitive level, how do you stay competitive after all these years? Tell me what's the secret sauce of always being relevant within, this major high school arena here?
Well, I think what I do is I make sure that I continue to tell myself that I don't know anything. And when you remind yourself that you don't know anything, then you're always out seeking more knowledge. I go to the NFCA convention every year where a lot of college coaches go, travel ball coaches go, and high school coaches go, and we try to really acquire the latest in technology, the latest in knowledge, the latest in what's happening. And like I said, I keep travel ball coaches nearby, and that really helps. I've always been competitive since I was a young girl. I had 3 sisters, and I was the third, so I was one of the middle children. And so you've got to be competitive, at that point. Back in my day, we didn't have Title IX, and so we had to fight for everything that we got. And so that was always, something that was a battle.
And just, to even, to break into, a head coaching position, to get into teaching, just being a female in general, trying to get a job and trying to be hired in anything, whether it's in business, professional, it's always like other things are stacked up against you, especially before Title IX. But one of the better things that I feel is the camaraderie that you get from the people that you touch. I mean, I coach high school baseball, and I hear your name talked about from some of our softball players, so your name in softball, especially here in Sacramento, is just phenomenal. Everybody knows Mary Jo. Everybody wants to play for Mary Jo. Everybody wants to learn from Mary Jo. But it's all because of your players. What you teach your players and how your players react definitely proves your coaching skills and just the humanity that you bring to the game itself.
Well, it's not just what happens on the field. I think it's what happens off the field because you can only make so much money off softball in the future. I mean, there's only so many avenues. There's the professional league, which is great. I still have Jolene Henderson, who's playing professionally. Danielle Henderson played professionally. Lindsay Ziegenhurt has done some playing professionally. Both Lindsay and Jolene played on the U.S. team. And so, to make your money off playing softball, it's still a challenge, but it's what they do academically that's really going to change lives for them. And so we focus on that a lot at the high school level, what they're doing in the classroom and what they're doing in terms of becoming good people.
That's it. That's something right there, because USA softball right now, it's been taken away as a Olympic sport. Am I correct? Right?
It's back.
Oh, it's back.
Yes, it's
Okay.
back now.
But I remember it was a big thing because USA softball was the leading sport for, winning championships. And I always wanted to talk to softball, like after college, after USA, what are the other avenues? So there's professional softball. Is there international, like classic opens for professional softball players?
Basically, there's the U.S. team is what they can do. And then some of the girls from the United States, they will play on other countries' teams based on their nationality. And so you'll find some of the women playing on Mexico's team, on Puerto Rico's team, and some of them will move to other countries to have the opportunity to play professionally.
But outside of the Olympics, so is it like, baseball, World Baseball Classic? Is there any open international tournament for professional softball?
No, there's just the NPF right now.
And right now, like on TV, you don't even see the NPF, but you do right now. Thank goodness the NCAA. You're starting to see a lot more collegiate baseball being shown on television.
Correct. They have shown more of the NPF on TV lately, and so that's been a real plus.
Which is a shame because, I'm a baseball coach, and we were talking earlier about how the pace of baseball is so slow, and that's totally opposite of softball. Softball is such an extremely fast-paced, fast-played game. You don't have time to rest. I mean, you need to be paying attention from as soon as you cross the line to the last strike. It is just unbelievable how fast this game is played.
It is. When that ball's pitched at from 43 feet, and you've got high school pitchers that are pitching between 55 and 60 to 65 miles an hour, it's coming in pretty hot.
And in baseball, even now, it's in high school, you might be able to manufacture a run. That's what a lot of coaches are trying to do. If leadoff guy gets a double or a single, of coach, we're going to try to do stuff like that. But in Major League Baseball, that's pretty much gone away. But in softball, it's imperative because you get a guy on, and you can slap hit. There's so many different avenues. It is imperative to get the guy to second. It's amazing on how baseball can manufacture runs when people get on. It's just so impressive how that can happen. I just wish that would come back to baseball.
Yeah, at the collegiate level, they tend to rely more on the long ball more than the short game. You'll see some teams rely on the short game, but mostly it's the long ball. Even travel ball, they're doing more of the long ball. High school, though, we still rely on the short game, and I think that makes us unique.
Why do you think that is? You think it's a lack of fundamentals that's being like coached, or you think just the players today are bigger, stronger, they can hit the ball longer? What do you think the style
I think
change?
it's a bit on the ego side.
Nice.
I think people like to hit the long ball.
Right.
Say it, exactly.
I'm saying it straight. I really think that, and I know my players, they really love it when we throw front toss and they can try to hit it over the fence. I mean, that's big for them. Even though we ended practice today with a bunting drill and they all had to bunt, they know that they have a role to play and that's going to be a part of our philosophy and part of our game too. But boy, when they get a chance to hit that ball over the fence, they all try to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a smaller guy, but I always think that I could go long too, so I definitely get it.
Yeah.
So when you have like runners on base and not being able to lead off, what is your strategy behind getting the runner to advance?
Well, they have to be explosive. They have to take off like they're going to steal every single time. So you can't be lazy on the bases, and you have to take advantage of every opportunity. If that ball hits the dirt and the catcher is the least bit lazy with it, you've got to be able to go. It's 60 feet at a time, and you've got to make that distance short. And so you teach your base runners to be awake all the time, and that's why it's such a fast game, because you don't take anything for granted. You've got to really be ready.
So there's a lot of comparisons between baseball and softball, and after this break, we'll talk our Hot Corner segment about the rules of baseball, the rules of softball, and more. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to the Sacramento Dugout Show. You know what time it is. It's time for the Hot Corner. And this is where we just throw some things out and we try to get perspective.
Right.
We were talking earlier about pitches. Now in baseball, we're always pitching down, and right now, like you're talking long ball, they want launch angle in baseball. But I've been watching some softball, and I'm really seeing what would be a very extremely difficult pitch to hit, that rising ball. But now a lot of these ladies are throwing changeups. To me, to throw a changeup underhand and see the spin and watch it drop off is just unbelievable. I don't understand how they do that, but explain to me how the softball pitchers are being able to adapt with all these phenomenal new pitches that are coming out.
Oh, it's pretty nice, but I think the important thing is, you'll get a lot of young pitchers that come in and they say, yeah, I've got like 15 pitches I can throw. And as a coach, you just hope they can pitch or throw maybe 3 really well. And you hope that one of them is a changeup,
Right.
because that is a great pitch to have. Because if you have a changeup, you can beat teams. You really can. And we've got a couple of pitchers that have them, so it's been really nice.
Yes.
But all it takes is a really good grip, because if you've got, grip and spin, you can win.
I see a lot of leadoff hitters or smaller hitters in softball have that run and start, like slap hitters. Do you see that being translatable into like baseball at all?
Oh, I think so. I think that baseball could do that very easily.
Especially with the switch. Where
Absolutely, absolutely. I'd love to see some baseball players try that. I think it'd be innovative for the baseball.
If they put the switch on and they had everybody over on the left side and you just got that left-hand back and just slapped it down that third baseline, that's an instant double.
It would be so much fun. I'll never forget the first time I saw a slapper. I was coaching back in Michigan, and a slapper slapped, and I thought, wait, what's she doing? I'd never seen it before. This was years ago. And so she came up again and she did it again, and I thought, wait a minute, we can't beat her. And so I kept watching, and I found a way to beat her. She was out of the box. So I kept yelling at the umpire, she's out of the box. And finally he was paying attention, because he hadn't really seen much of it either. And so he finally started to call her out of the box.
So like in baseball, if you make contact and your foot is totally out of the batter's box, you are out if you make contact.
Absolutely.
Is it the same in softball
Yes.
as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be in the box when you make contact.
Well, there's so many slap hitters in softball that do it so well. Slappers, you see it in international, like Japanese and the Korean league, but not too much in American baseball. I could see somebody perfecting like a Hamilton or some of these faster players that
Well,
can
you're
really,
that much closer to first base.
right.
And slappers are mainly a left-handed hitter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so when with the slapper in the box and a runner in base, so they're looking for contact and to put the ball into play. What, as a coach, if you were the defensive coach, what would you be wanting your pitcher to do?
Well, I'd throw it outside, make them reach for it.
And so extend the hands just like in baseball.
Or I'd throw a rise ball, get it up over into their eyes.
See, that's another.
That rise ball is
yes, that's huge. Because it's hard enough hitting the ball coming at you, but if it's low going to high and you're swinging going down, it just messes everything
I think
up.
Ted Williams would be the only one that would be able to hit that because of how the way he was level and coming down, or Cal Rimpin. But with the way everybody's launch angle is, there's no way a baseball player is going to be able to hit a softball pitcher. No way.
Right.
I mean, we've seen
It's
Jenny
fun to
Finch
watch.
do it. It's absolutely fun to watch, because they, the first swing, okay, it's funny, haha. The second swing, it's frustrated. You see them,
bear down
on
Yes.
that bat, and then they can no longer swing because they're so clenched.
Yes.
And it's just funny to be able to see, 5'6", 5'7", girl out on the mound, just making professional baseball players look absolutely silly. Even though the professional baseball players knows how to track the ball and they know which angle it's coming, but they refuse to adjust their swing because of their ego.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Switching gears a little bit, this is a prized topic that we always talk about in Hot Corner. We always talk about the challenge of academies or travel ball to traditional leagues. You said that you have travel ball coaches on your staff.
Correct.
When you first started coaching, could you tell us the difference between the level of high school softball to travel softball now, and the dynamic switch of what's going on of players getting to college, or just the attention of it?
Right. Well, our players don't get their scholarships from high school. They get all of their scholarships through travel ball. Travel ball is extremely competitive at the gold level and even other levels, but it depends on which travel ball program you're with, really, because there are tons of travel ball programs. And so you really need to shop to find one that fits you and fits what you want, because you can have a travel ball program that is well connected with different universities across the United States, or a travel ball program that doesn't really place kids. And that's what you really need to find, is one that can really do something for your daughter. High school programs can be competitive or they cannot be competitive. It's really a coaching problem in terms of getting people that can spend that time to do the coaching. There's a lot of things that you have to do to be a high school coach now, a lot of classes that you have to take, that it's getting more and more difficult to find coaches that will coach at the high school level. We have to take care of our own fields a lot of the time, year round, in order to maintain them. And so it's gotten difficult. I think the two programs can work hand in hand, and that's why I have travel ball coaches that coach with me. And I think a lot of the softball programs in our area do the same thing, because they realize that it's a beneficial relationship. It's when it's not a beneficial relationship, when they meet heads, and that's when it hurts the kids, because the kids play travel ball for a longer period of time than they play high school ball. They have a much longer season. They play in the summer, they play in the fall, and they play in the winter.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Do you see some players foregoing their high school season because they have a more exposure or a better opportunity playing softball? Or is it encouraged from certain coaches to not play high school softball?
I think that's happened. It has happened. I've seen it happen. I think it's really sad when it happens, because I think there's so much that a player can gain from playing in high school. There's a lot of good that happens in high school athletics. Just being a part of a high school team is just such a positive experience. Right. Playing for that, the teal, black, and white, and having all of that comes with that, and your teachers recognizing you, and the administration recognizing you, and all of the honors that you get playing high school athletics, I think is a real plus. And people watching you academically. You don't have to make grades to play travel ball. You don't have to have good attendance to play travel ball. But all of those criteria are extremely important for high school. And so those are the plus sides. And at some point, if you want to be a collegiate athlete, you're going to have to follow those rules. And you might as well get used to them now.
That's same parallels in baseball.
Yeah, we pretty much
just we see a constant strife from academies at a young level getting into high school, and these high school summer programs that's kind of taking over high school baseball. And
it seems like every year there's a new academy jumping up here.
Right.
Right now in Sacramento there's about 8. So to me, the pool play, every kid wants to be on an academy team. Yes, it's who was the
Right.
championship, who won the championship. That's the team I want to try out
Right.
for. So the kids have aspirations to play on certain teams. The parents, they get involved when they shouldn't, to try to get them to play on certain teams, to try to
Right.
benefit the kid. But then you look in Sacramento where you have all these academies, but then people are traveling 200 miles and you're playing the team that's 5 miles away from you.
Right.
So the skill level and the player pool, talent-wise, seems to be drop a little bit when it comes to academy baseball, because there's so many. Is there tons of academies for softball as well?
No, it's travel ball.
Travel ball.
Yeah, and there are a lot of travel ball teams. And I think that's different than in back in the day when I first moved to California, and there were just a few elite travel ball programs in the area, the Breeze being one of them. Yeah. And now you've got Lady Magic, and you've got LTG, and you've got the Breeze, And those are names that really come up quite a bit in the travel ball area.
Like, and when they were doing that too, that's back when the Silver Bullets tried to
Right.
start the female baseball. I can't believe that didn't take off, because they actually had a great team, but it was more of sponsorship on TV that they were worried about than letting the ladies get out and produce and show the talent that they had. I just think
Yes.
they went about it the wrong way. But before we wrap all this up, I'm sure you hear about this all the time because it's very unique, and I just love it to death. But you have this tradition with marbles. And I'm
Yes.
pretty sure you knew I was going to be bringing this up. But the marble thing, from winning a victory to your players getting a marble, has totally changed, because now you're preparing yourself before the season starts to get your marbles.
Yes, what I do is I take the schedule and I look up what the team colors are of the teams that we're going to play, and I order marbles ahead of time to try to match those teams that we're going to play, in hopes that, because when you play against a team, you plan to win, and so hopefully when we win these games, I give every girl a marble of the color of the team that we plan to play.
And it's lifelong memories too. I bet you those girls,
Absolutely.
they keep those marbles, and the 20-year high school reunion comes around, and I bet you they bring those marbles.
Absolutely, I hear about those marbles a
I
lot.
bet. Well, Mary Jo, I really want to thank you for taking your time out, especially since softball season is just getting started, and I know you left practice to get here. But for Mary Jo Truesdale, for Dominic Morris, I'm Todd Sullivan. This was the Sacramento Dugout Show. Thank you and good night.